Welcome to Love, Death, and Deceit. The following podcast is my personal account of real events. It reflects my experiences, my views, and my opinions. The events described are true to the best of my knowledge and supported by documents, recordings, and other forms of evidence. Some names and identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. This content is provided for the informational and storytelling purposes only. Any conclusions drawn are solely for the listener to decide. Episode 1. This is the beginning of everything. My name is Alan. This is not entertainment. This is not fiction. This is my life. The names in the story have been changed, but the people responsible for what happened will not get to hide behind silence. The events are true, supported by documents, recordings, and testimony. I tell this story because the courts have failed me, because silence has nearly buried me, and because one day my daughter deserves to know the truth. That I fought for her every step of the way until the bitter end. This podcast is called Love, Death, and Deceit. And this is the beginning of everything. When you know, you know. April 29th, 2021, my first date with Jennifer. I don't know how to explain it except to say it felt like home. Not the kind of home you live in, but the kind you carry in your heart. We laughed, we talked, and I left that night with a feeling I've never experienced before. On the drive home, I caught myself smiling so wide, it almost hurt. I was 40-something years old, and I felt like a teenager again. From that night on, we set a rule, never more than 2 days apart. We weren't being dramatic, we were being honest. If 2 days went by without seeing each other, it just felt unbearable. 2 weeks later, we got tattoos, matching, of course. She had the lock, and I had the key. People thought we were reckless. We thought we had discovered what everyone else spends a lifetime searching for. Jennifer came with her daughter, Ashley, 9 years old, brave, kind. The first weekend she stayed over, I bought bunk beds so she and my granddaughter, who lived next door, could share a room. They became best friends instantly. By July, Jennifer and Ashley moved in. My oldest son and his family lived next door. Our families blended in a way that felt like destiny. For the first time, my life felt complete. Looking back now, I can see how fragile happiness really is. In those moments, I believed we had beaten the odds, that we found a love so strong, nothing could touch it. I didn't know then how quickly the ground can shift beneath you when the floor gives way. Not long after they moved in, my entire career collapsed. 23 years as an insurance agent gone overnight. An employee's fraud wiped out everything I had built. I was broken, but Jennifer held me together. She told me we'd survive it, and with her by my side, I believed it. Until December 21st, 2021. Literally 2 months later. Jennifer collapsed at her company's Christmas dinner. Hours later, the doctor said the words that still echo in my chest. Pancreatic cancer. A few days later, at her hospital bed, I pulled out a ring I had actually bought for her for Christmas. I dropped to my knees right there next to the hospital bed and asked her to marry me. She said yes. From then on, we weren't just partners. We were bound by love and by a promise that no matter what came next, we would face it together. If I had known that night how short our time would be, I would have held her longer. I would have memorized every detail of her face in that hospital room. But the truth is, when you're in love, you don't think about endings. You think about forever. Becoming dad. The months that followed were filled with surgeries, chemo, and nights in uncomfortable hospital chairs. But through it all, we fought together. And while I cared for Jennifer, I also cared for Ashley. I made her lunches, picked her up from school, helped her with her homework, tucked her in at night. One day, she looked at me and asked, "Can I call you Dad?" My heart stopped, and then I smiled. "Yes," I told her, "of course you can." From that day forward, she signed her school papers with my last name. She told her biological father, who hardly ever saw her, that she already had a real dad, and it was me. Jennifer saw this and she wrote it into her will. She wanted me to raise Ashley when she was gone. She even gave me power of attorney for her medical care, in secret. She didn't trust her mother with those decisions. Jennifer carried a quiet but powerful determination in her heart. She wanted to hold on long enough for Ashley to turn 13. To Jennifer, that milestone wasn't just another birthday. It was the point where Ashley would be old enough to tell the court, in her own voice, where she really truly wanted to live. Jennifer knew her time was limited, but she also knew that reaching that age would give Ashley the power to shape her own future. Free from manipulation or outside influence, it became her driving goal, her anchor through the pain, to fight for every single day until Ashley had the right to be heard. That moment when Ashley called me Dad, it was the greatest honor of my life. I thought the universe was finally giving me everything I'd ever prayed for, but what I didn't see was how fragile it all was, how quickly it could be stolen. We died fighting. In 2024, during a family trip, Jennifer became gravely ill with sepsis. Her mother told the doctors to stop treatment, to let her die. But Jennifer wasn't ready. She looked at me and said, "I want to live." And I remembered the promise we had made to each other. If we die fighting. So I pulled out the power of attorney. I overruled her mother. I paid $27,000 for an air ambulance to bring her back to Texas. Everyone said she wouldn't survive the flight, but she did. She came home weaker, unable to eat or drink. I became her full-time caregiver. Every 4 hours, round the clock, I administered meds. I raised Ashley. I lived on 3 hours of sleep at a time. People see love in flowers and gifts and anniversaries, but real love is syringes at 4 in the morning. It's washing the sheets after another night of pain. It's raising a child while your partner is too weak to get out of bed. That's the kind of love Jennifer and I had, and I would do it all again. The scheme. Weeks before Jennifer's death, her mother put a plan into motion, a scheme built on lies and manipulation. She told Jennifer that Ashley would be taken away if she stayed with me. She poisoned her with fear, and she lured her and Ashley to her house. Jennifer told me, "It's not that I don't want to be with you. I need to be with my daughter." She admitted her mother needed someone to blame, and that I was the easy target. She begged me not to take it personally, but how could I not? That's the cruelty of manipulation. It doesn't just steal people from you. It makes them feel like they're the ones choosing to leave. Watching Jennifer pulled from me that way was like losing her before I'd even lost her. Death and betrayal. On November 14th, 2024, at 12:03 a.m., my phone lit up. A call from Jennifer's number. No voicemail, no text. Nothing. Of course, it didn't wake me up. I did not see this till the next morning. Was she calling to say goodbye? Was she trying to tell me she loved me and she was sorry? Or did someone stop her? I will never know, because 18 hours later, she was gone. I wasn't told. The family never even planned to tell me. I found out from one of her friends. The very next day, Ivy pulled Ashley out of the school she loved. She told her lies, that I was dangerous, that if she called me, she'd be taken to foster care. 2 days after Jennifer's death, her phone was used to impersonate her. Yes, texts were sent to me asking for her belongings as if she was still alive. And then came the funeral. Ivy told me I wasn't welcome. She sent hateful messages. She barred my family and friends. She even posted guards at the door. She made the funeral about herself. But I refused to be erased. I arranged for a second funeral. 2 funerals, 2 viewings. One controlled by deceit and one built on love. At my service, I made sure Jennifer was buried with her wedding ring. Ivy had forbidden it, so I slipped it into the back of her dress. My hands trembling. That was love. Honoring her wishes, even in death. It's a strange thing to stand over the woman you love and have to hide a ring on her body just to honor her final wish. That's what deceit forced me into. That's the level of control they tried to hold. But love finds a way, even if it has to fight through death. The war for Ashley. After Jennifer's death, the lies grew louder. CPS reports, police complaints, anonymous tips, social media slander. Every one of them false. Every one designed to smear me, to erase me, to sever my bond with Ashley. And Ashley, my daughter, was the weapon. She was told I overdosed her mother. She was told I wasn't her father. She was told if she loved me, she'd be taken away. Imagine a grieving child told that the man who tucked her in at night was a monster, that the only safe choice was to turn away from the person who loved her most. The courts failed us. They silenced me. They allowed lies to stand as truth. And they handed Ashley to the very people Jennifer never trusted. There are losses you can prepare for, and then there are the ones you can't. Losing Jennifer broke me. But losing Ashley, not to death, but to lies, is what shattered me. Because she's still out there, alive, waiting for the day she can hear the truth. Why I tell this story. That is why I'm here. That's why I'm telling this story. Because love made us fearless. Because death tried to end the story. And because deceit has tried to bury the truth. But I'm still standing, and I will not be silent. This podcast is my record, my testimony, my fight for Jennifer, for Ashley, for the truth. And for the day my daughter hears these words and knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that her dad never stopped fighting for her. This is love, death, and deceit. And this is only the beginning. In this episode, you've heard about how love brings us together and how deceit tore us apart. But what you haven't heard yet are the messages, the recordings, and the documents, the hard proof of how far they went to erase me from Jennifer's story and from Ashley's life. In the next episode, you'll hear those words for yourselves. The lies, the threats, and the truth that they never wanted to see the light of day. This fight isn't just mine, it's for my daughter. One day she'll hear these words and know the truth, no matter what lies have been told. If this story has touched you, please like, share, and subscribe so the truth can't be silenced and so that she will always have these chapters to turn to.